Hi guys, so today I'm going to use this video to explain the two concepts of debt consolidation and debt counseling slash debt review. Okay, I'm covering these two topics because I got a specific question in my DMs and I really just want to explain why these two concepts are important when you're dealing with debt, especially these are extreme solutions to being over indebted. So over indebted meaning being that once you've paid off your debts at the end of the month, you can't survive on the money that's left in your account. You can't buy food, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay school fees, that kind of thing. You can't get to work, you don't have transport money. So that's being over indebted. All your money is going to servicing and paying for these debts. Okay. So the question specifically talks about having, say, owing a specific creditor 85,000 rand, and so your monthly installments are about 3,500. That's if you divide them by 11, like they're mentioning in the question. If you divide them by 11, I think they specifically also mentioned 11 months because I had mentioned dividing our debt by 11 months throughout the year to be able to pay them off by November. If this gets you to a place where the debt is too much for you to pay monthly, then don't divide it by 11, guys. Divide it by 12 if you're, if you're in the process of wanting to pay debt off quicker. You cannot do it to the detriment of your livelihood. Okay, so if dividing it by 11 means you're not going to eat, then don't do it. Yeah? Okay, so then yeah, because she mentions that if you basically are paying back this loan 3,500 each month, and if you divide it by 11 months, that comes to like now 7,700 each month, which is a lot to give to just to pay back one debt. I get that. And then at the end of the month, you're left with only 2,500 take home, which you cannot do much with in terms of food and transport and other necessities in your life. 100% agree. So this is saying, she's saying this is kind of a typical thing with government employees, and I don't know if I'm allowed to mention the company that they mentioned is a big culprit of a lot of our debt, especially in Namibia. There's a specific company, the name starts with an L, and they tend to give high interest loans to people who need them for various reasons. So yes, I'm going to now explain consolidation. Consolidation is really, debt consolidation is when, say you have five debts currently that you're servicing, and all of them are calling you at the same time, wanting their money. Sometimes you don't pay one because one, you skipped, so now you're doubling one side and the other one is in default. So debt consolidation is basically when you go to the bank and they give you one loan. So the bank will then give you a loan to pay back all your other debts. Okay, so what you're doing then is if you owe 100,000 in total to all your other five creditors, you get a loan from the bank of 100,000 and you pay off all those creditors, and now you have one loan with the bank. Now, in theory, this makes sense, right? In theory, it sounds good. Then you're not having to deal with five creditors calling you at different times. This one's threatening this one's threatening that. You've wiped them out and your only commitment is to the bank. Sounds good. But the problem with debt consolidation is now you're taking out a brand new loan, which might be for a longer period than all the other ones that you owed. So if on one debt you were 6 months from paying it off, the other one you were a year from paying it off, maybe another one 2 years, you might take out a brand new loan for 5 years, which means actually, in actual fact, when you're doing debt consolidation, you end up paying more money over to the bank than had you just tried to manage your five debts and done the best you could with them, because now you're also getting a brand new interest rate. And usually with debt consolidation, the interest rate is might be even higher than the ones on your individual debts. So one debt has 9%, one is 11%, one is like 15%, another one is, I don't know, 12%, right? Once you take out this brand new loan, the interest tends to be a bit higher. So you might now be trading in interest of 9%, 10%, 12% for 20%, which means you will be paying more at the end of the day because now you're paying for longer and you're paying a high interest. And that is the most important two factors to consider with debt. How long are you paying it, and how much interest are you being charged on it? If these two amounts are higher than your current situation that you're struggling with, it might not be wise to go with debt consolidation. I'll also give you a personal example. My husband was recently telling me that before we paid off our car, our bank got in touch with him and was like, hey, we're offering you debt consolidation. And he's like, well, why are they offering me this debt consolidation? I didn't ask for it. I don't need it. But nonetheless, the way they were structuring it is actually very shady. And we should be, we should always look at things like, what's in it for you? And there's always something in it for the bank to make money. So we owed about 70,000 left on our car last year when they approached him. And they were like, no, we'll give you 100,000 to pay off your car, and then the extra 30,000 is yours to use as you wish. It's yours to keep. Why? Why would I take a new loan of 100,000 to pay off my car, that's 70,000, and then an extra 30,000 for me to do what with? So it's a way to get you into more debt. If you don't look at it carefully, it's a way to get you into more debt. And the interest rate that they were offering was way higher than what we were paying on the car. Our car interest rate is 9.2%. It was like 20% that they're offering on the loan, the consolidation loan. So obviously he rejected the whole offer, and we ended up paying off the car just with a lump sum on our own. And now we're not sitting with this consolidation loan. They make it seem like it's for you, but guys, it's not for you, Sham. It really isn't. So that's the thing with consolidation. So the other alternative to consolidation then is debt review. Now, debt review is a more formal process where all your creditors will know that you are in trouble, because what happens is you're going to now a debt counselor and they put your whole debts under review. What they do is then get in touch with your creditors on your behalf and renegotiate the terms of your agreement. So sometimes you will get a lower interest rate, sometimes you'll get a longer repayment. So some of them will be like, okay, fine, we understand the client cannot pay us within the 12 months they agreed to, we'll make it 24 months, which means your installments will reduce, right? That's all it is. And sometimes it's a reduction in the interest that you agreed to. So if they had charged you first an interest of 15%, now because you are under debt review and there's somebody, representing you in that regard, they might then agree to reduce the interest to 10%. Best case scenario, in my opinion, is reduction of interest, because then in the long run, you're paying less than you actually would have if you just extend the period. If you're extending the period, you're going to pay more actually, but you're going to pay more in total. I mean, in the mean term, in the short, when you're looking at it today, tomorrow, yes, you're paying less monthly, but you're paying for longer. While as if you reduce the interest, you're paying less interest and the term stays the same. So that's something to consider. So when you're undergoing debt review or debt counseling, that's what happens. This company, the debt review company, will basically, or debt counselor will act as an intermediary between you and your creditors. Because what happens is when you get extremely over indebted, these people are relentless. They call you at home, they call you at work, they will visit you at work. They will embarrass you in front of people, just showing up randomly to say, hey, you owe us money. You owe us money. And the calls are incessant. And if it's 5 people that are constantly doing this, and then they can also start court proceedings where they can garnish your salary because you can't pay. So which means they will make sure you pay them before you even get your salary. So your employer literally has to take money out of your paycheck before they pay you and hand it over to them because you cannot pay. So before it gets there to where your salary is garnished and now your credit record is in shambles, you want to may start a debt review process or debt counseling process. This person will stand in between you and your creditors and say, listen, this person is undergoing this process. Hold on a second. This is how how we're going to structure their debt. Let's renegotiate. So what will happen is then you will not actually be paying your creditors directly. You will sit with a debt review counselor and they will actually look at your budget and say, okay, this is the amount of money you need to live, and this is the amount of money you have left to be able to pay your creditors. They will inform your creditors of what your capabilities are financially, what resources are left for you to actually pay them back, and then a payment plan will be structured around what you can afford. So it's not a situation where now you're paying creditors to your own detriment where you can't feed yourself. They will make sure your budget allows for you to pay the creditors back whatever amount you can on a monthly basis. So if you say, before the debt review process, monthly you would have to be paying 10,000 to all your creditors. Now, during the debt review process, after they've renegotiated for you, they can see, you know what, you can't afford this 10,000 monthly. But you can afford, say, 3,000 monthly to pay off your debts. We will structure the whole process around this 3,000, and your creditors will have to agree to it because it is a formal process that is actually regulated by law. Okay, so then that 3,000, you will pay it over to your debt counselor, the company that is your debt counsel, and they pay your creditors. So you never have to deal with your creditors again. You never have to take a call from them. They cannot garnish your salary. They cannot threaten you anymore because you are under a process that is protected by law. Okay, so that's how debt review works. I really hope I've covered it all and made it very clear. It's consolidation, which is a brand new loan, which is very weird because you are already a person with a problem, all right? And the problem is you can't stop taking credit. You can't stop being in debt. And now what they're offering you is another loan to fix your problem. It's like, almost sounds like a pyramid scheme, really, because it's like your money problems cannot be solved by more money, right? Especially if it's a debt issue. If you have a debt issue, that cannot be solved by more debt. Then giving you more money will not fix it. So a loan to pay off all your other creditors does not mean that that one loan that you've created because of the consolidation, you will keep up with and you will honor because you have a bigger problem. And I always say also, this is a very important thing to know. And we tend to not focus on the fact that it's not just money, guys. It's a psychological thing. Why do you continue to take on all this debt? Who are you trying to impress? Or what void, if it's not a who am I trying to impress, what void are you trying to fill? So if that is not sorted out, another loan to fix that problem will not do it. You will now end up defaulting on the one loan you've created because, and then that's the thing also with consolidation, it doesn't stop you from going to get more loans, right? You can, after you've done this consolidation, you can go back and continue with your clothing accounts that got you in debt, your credit cards that got you in debt, your revolving loans and your overdrafts. You can literally go back and get more of those things. So you have not actually solved anything. Now with debt review, once you're under that process, you cannot get new credit until you have finished the process of the debt review and paid back all your creditors. It is actually listed on your credit report that this person is currently under debt review. Thus, do not give her any more credit. You can't even get a cell phone contract. You can't open a clothing account, nothing until your process of paying off all the creditors that are still waiting for their money is done, which I think is best because hopefully in that time, you will take time to also reflect and figure out how the heck did I get myself in this situation and what can I do better in future. And that is what the counselor is there for as well. So I really believe if you are stuck, debt review is the process. That's just me. Yes, it will be on your credit report for a certain amount of time showing that, listen, this person has over-indebted themselves and they're going under a process to try and fix it. It is what it is, right? It is a process of accountability after all. After you've done the debt counseling process and you've paid off all your debts, the counselor will have to issue you with a certificate, clearance certificate to say you have gone through the process, you've paid off all your debts, you're good to go. You can take these to the credit bureaus and they will clear your credit record because it will show up on your credit record that you're under review until you get this clearance certificate from the debt review counselors that you've gone through the process and everything is well and they can clear your credit record. And once that is done, you are literally back to being a normal person again. You can get your credit again. Hopefully now you'll make better decisions going forward. So yes, like I said, I would go with debt review. Yes, in the short term, while you're going through it, it sucks. You can't get any sort of loan, nothing. And it even takes a while for you to build your credit score up again, for creditors to trust you again. That is okay because it's a process of you doing the inner work to understand how you got there and doing better next time. So while you're slowly building your credit record and doing better for yourself, it's a good process. It lets you pull back, right? It lets you pull back and sit and look, how did I get here? Consolidation does not offer you that. Consolidation says, oh, you have a debt problem? Here's more debt. All right, guys, I hope that has cleared up that topic. So yes, for the lady who asked the question in the DMs, if the situation is that you cannot feed yourself, go to work, take care of your bare necessities because of debt, consider debt review. Really, I would not say take out another loan to cover your loan. It won't, because then you still have the same problem over again. So that's my solution to you. Consider debt review. Speak to a counselor before you even sign on the dotted line and say I'm going through debt review. Ask all the questions. Ask what needs to be asked. Sit about it. Read about it. Do some research and really go in it with an open mind, because it does take some time to get to that point. Especially if your debt is a lot, it takes a while for you to get from where you're sitting with, say, over 100,000 in debt to zero. It's a commitment. It can actually take to like 2 to 3, 4, 5 years, depending on how much money you owe. And in that time, you have to know you can't buy a car because they're not going to give you any money for a car. Can't buy a house, nothing. You are like in rehab. That's what it is, rehab. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to cover today, guys. Thank you for watching.